we haven't fought. Imagine that. They gotta lie. They gotta lie. They gotta lie all the time. They can't even believe their own lie. You can't even believe your own lie.
I want to be the best. So when I see certain guys out there, and I seen Tio his last fight, I was there front row, and I'm like, damn, this dude is like, he like a baby Roy. Like he like doing things with hands down, flashy.
Too much of it. You know, I think that he believes in himself. That's one thing. But I'm here to destroy his dreams and all that he wants to do and become. You can't take this from me. I worked very hard for it.
Speaking at the press event, Teofimo Lopez sent a clear and forceful message to Shakur Stevenson, stating that he plans to make him pay once they step into the ring. Lopez explained that even if the public views him as a lesser favorite, he intends to prove his true abilities. He warned that anyone who doubts him is making a serious mistake and guaranteed a one-sided showing that will clearly display his talent, strength, and relentless drive.
They didn't know that. They kept asking that protection program.
Money talk, walk. Money talk.
Lopez is displaying a fierce level of focus as he prepares for his matchup against Shakur Stevenson. Calm yet confident, he has made it clear that his goal is to take full control once the fight begins. He is determined to showcase his technique, strength, and game plan. There's no confusion about his mindset. Lopez is locked in, driven to win, and intent on proving exactly what he brings to the ring.
Yeah. I'm gonna beat him up. I'm gonna beat him up.
And we know at one point you contemplated retirement. Seems like you're in a good place now. You're active. Where are you at right now? Where are you feeling about your career?
Mentally, I'm in the Bahamas somewhere, having a coquito.
Teofimo Lopez has made it clear that he has no intention of letting Shakur Stevenson claim the title he fought to secure. He points to the sacrifices that brought him to this position, explaining that the belt stands for years of hardship, pain, and relentless dedication. To Lopez, this matchup is about defending everything he has built through persistence and effort. He has complete confidence in himself and is fully committed to holding his ground inside the ring. Lopez sees this fight as deeply personal, fueled by pride and hard work, and believes no one should be able to take away something earned through discipline, sacrifice, and unwavering commitment.
Of being in the ring,
Yes.
Shakur Stevenson. Obviously,
sure.
you guys are both in Las Vegas. I'm hearing that you did link up today. A face-off happened between the two of you.
Yeah, face-off happened. Things of that nature. Just to create the things that are in motion already. So we're really adamant about fighting each other next, and I can't wait for us to really lace it up. And I see him across the ring, and really when that bell rings, lights out for him.
What's it like seeing him now kind of face to face? When you look at him, what do you see? Because obviously you're not locked in just yet, and the closer it gets to a fight, obviously things turn a little bit. But when you do look at Shakur, what do you think of him?
I think I don't think too much of it. I think that he believes in himself. That's one thing. But I'm here to destroy his dreams and all that he wants to do and become. You can't take this from me. I worked very hard for it. I've bled for this, and I'm not taking nothing from him, but I just believe that what's gonna happen next is for destiny in the box.
Aoya offers his analysis of a matchup between Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez, suggesting the fight is very likely to last all 12 rounds. He explains that the tone of the first half of the bout could be crucial in determining how things unfold. According to Aoya, Shakur may begin cautiously rather than pressing forward early, opting to stay defensive while studying Lopez's movement and tactics. If Teofimo is able to control or clearly secure the opening rounds, it could force Shakur to adjust his game plan later on, making the second half of the fight far more competitive. Lopez is characterized as a fast starter who depends on early momentum and explosive output, raising questions about whether he can maintain that pace over the full distance. Should Shakur feel his behind after the early rounds, he would likely need to increase his activity in the later stages, setting up a tense and closely contested finish in the championship rounds. On the other hand, if Lopez falls behind early, Shakur could settle into a steady rhythm and coast toward a clear unanimous decision. Overall, the breakdown frames this fight as a strategic battle where pacing, timing, and round-by-round execution will ultimately decide the winner.
I don't think that Shakur is going to come out and try to fight or take the fight to Tio in the first 6 rounds at all. So if he's fighting off the back foot, if Tio can make it so that he's convinced at least Shakur that he may have won 4 of the first 6 rounds. You know, if it's 4-2 in Shakur's mind going into the second half of the fight, or if I'm looking at him stealing those first 6 rounds, then it's an interesting fight going into the tail end, because Teo, to me, is a front runner, right? I want to see if he can carry his energy and his explosiveness late in the fight and not wear down. And then when Shakur starts to open up, you know, can you steal some of those championship rounds from him and make it like a close fight? I think if Teo comes out and does what he usually does, which is try to swarm Shakur early and keep Shakur on the defensive early, then he can try to steal a lot of those early rounds. And if he does that, then Shakur has to fight in the tail end of that fight, and that'll make it real interesting. If I'm looking at the first 3 rounds, first 4 rounds, and Teo looks like he's losing those rounds convincingly, then it's an easy night for Shakur, unanimous decision in my opinion. You know what I mean? Because I don't think Teo's gonna bring anything late in the game, you know what I mean, to this fight. I think if he is who he's always been, you know, he's gonna get gassed after like the 7th round and then take some rounds off. And when he does that, Shakur will open up and start to try to pick him apart, pot shot him, and do things like that. But this is the perfect fight, narrative-wise, for Shakur, because I've been waiting for Shakur to get into that fight where, you know, he doesn't have the fight where he doesn't have this Diego Corrales fight. You know what I mean? Where you think he's actually in danger. Shakur has been he's been outclassing everybody he's in the ring with. You know what I mean? Then the guys that you think could give him some work, like De Los Santos, I know people hate when I bring that fight up, but I want to see him
Shakur Stevenson explains that his motivation comes from an intense competitive nature and a constant desire to face the strongest opponents available. After watching one of Teofimo Lopez's recent performances, Stevenson noticed Lopez's confidence and flashy presence, which reminded him of a young Roy Jones Jr. That impression sparked Stevenson's interest in challenging himself against someone with that level of skill. He sees this matchup as an important moment to measure where he stands against a top-tier fighter while adjusting to a different tactical approach. Looking back at his fight with William Ada, Stevenson acknowledges it was unusual and physically demanding, but ultimately valuable. That experience showed him he could perform under pressure and overcome adversity. He also learned that fighters who apply non-stop pressure are designed to test him, and successfully dealing with that style strengthened his belief in himself. As he prepares to face Lopez, Stevenson feels confident in his ability to manage speed, power, and unpredictability at the highest level. With sharper focus, adaptability, and experience gained over time, he believes he can approach the fight intelligently, turning it into a full examination of his skills, mental strength, and readiness to compete among the best in the sport.
But bro, what is it about you that has you looking at a fighter that you know is the truth and then saying, I want to fight him? It seems like it should be normal if you're a fighter, right? But that stuff is dying off in the game right now. And I feel like you one of the last of the dying breed that actually want real challenges.
Yeah, I'm competitive, bro. So it's like, I want to be the best. So when I see certain guys out there, and I seen Teo his last fight, I was there front row, and I'm like, damn, this dude is like, he like a baby Roy. Like, he like doing things with his hands down, flashy. And I thought it was cool. So it kind of made me want to get in the ring with him and see if he could do them things against my style.
Your last fight was against William Zepeda in July, and you fought a totally different way. It wasn't the easiest way or the best way to fight, but I think it was good for you and your development because it not only sent a message to the rest of the division, one up, your division at that time, and then the one above you, but it sent a message to the fans. But I think it also did something for you to prove to yourself that, man, listen, that wasn't like my best performance, but I showed you I can get it out the mud. What did that performance kind of do for you now that you look back at it?
Honestly, I think like styles wise, I think that Zepeda's style is the style that's supposed to give me the most trouble. Like, guys that box and give me time to think is the guys that's gonna have a fit with me all night. But the guys who press me and put me against the ropes and throw a million punches, that's the style that's supposed to give me trouble. So I went out there and I prevailed against that style, and now I'm fighting against a boxer, which for me, it just makes it more fun. I don't have to deal with a guy that's trying to like wear me down.
Chris Algieri shares his perspective on why the matchup between Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez matters so much for boxing. He argues that the sport benefits most when elite fighters are willing to face one another, even if there's risk involved, pointing out that a loss doesn't erase a fighter's greatness. According to Algieri, this bout represents that exact mindset. Rather than being a reckless exchange of constant punches, he describes the fight as a high-level contest built on skill, timing, and tactical awareness. The intelligence and technique on display, he says, are what truly keep fans engaged, proving that precision can be just as exciting as volume. Algieri also notes that a win for Shakur would firmly place him among the top pound-for-pound fighters in the sport, likely within the top 5 to 7. Even though many already feel he belongs there, he views this matchup as a modern-day classic, similar to historic battles where the very best in the division tested each other. By highlighting the strategy, intensity, and legacy tied to fights like this, Algieri reinforces that elite-level boxing continues to deliver excitement, meaning, and lasting impact.
Health of boxing on this side of the world. You know, listen, there's nothing like the Garden. We both fought there many times. I fought in the big room. There's nothing like the Garden. Just the vibe, like you said, champ, that's around that. And this fight is deserving to be here. It's that good of a fight. It's that big a fight, and especially like I said, like the health of American boxing. This is one of the best fights that can be made. And putting it in the Garden just makes too much sense.
But the idea of the turmoil, the eyes on it, the spectacle, the circus. Chris, you talked about the idea that Teofimo Lopez kind of lives in this. That's where he flourishes. That's what he loves. This idea that because there's so many eyeballs on it, it's going to be kind of a circus. Does that favor Teofimo a little bit when you look at the strategy? Yes, no?
I'm going to say well, I can't say for certain because there's no certain with Teofimo Lopez. He's one of the most up, down, left, right guys I've ever
Mercurial,
been around. Yeah,
we could say,
I mean,
yes.
But when he is on, he's damn near unbeatable. I mean, he's such a good athlete. He has such a good boxing IQ. He's so physical and explosive. And again, I've said this on past shows. I've called him many times for Top Rank, been around fight weeks, and it just seems to me, the more out of sorts he seems, the more back against the wall it looks like, the more that he's an underdog, the better he performs. And this could be that kind of situation. New York is a tough place, man. They're already gibbering, going back and forth, saying like, you know, he reps Brooklyn, but there's kind of questions about his Brooklyn roots. Can he really rep Brooklyn in the way that he says he can? So he's already getting that heat for that. I don't know. It might be a good thing to poke the bear in terms of how well Teofimo is going to show up.
Paulies, that's a huge. You're from Brooklyn. That's a big insult to say that you're not really from Brooklyn.
Insult him a little bit.
Insult him a little bit. Insult him.
But I'll tell you what. There's so many thoughts in my head with this situation because Teofimo is at his most dangerous when he's counted out. And this is going to be one of those fights.
Bruce Carrington breaks down Teofimo Lopez's upcoming matchup with Shakur Stevenson, pointing to a potential flaw in Lopez's fighting style. He explains that Lopez can have trouble dealing with opponents who use constant movement and shifting angles. Even with his natural athletic gifts and knockout power, Lopez may find it difficult to adapt against a fighter who controls space and changes positioning with discipline. Carrington highlights that Stevenson's calm demeanor and sharp ring IQ could take advantage of this issue, causing Lopez to rush his attacks or fall short with his shots. By dictating distance and tempo, Stevenson can force the fight to unfold on his own terms instead of allowing Lopez to establish rhythm. While Lopez thrives in sudden bursts of offense and high-pressure moments, Carrington notes that relying too heavily on power can work against him when facing composed and mobile opponent. Stevenson's defensive awareness and ability to reset after exchanges could wear Lopez down and reduce his effectiveness as the rounds progress. In the end, Carrington suggests that Lopez will need to improve his patience and adjust his movement if he wants to overcome Stevenson's technical strengths. The analysis frames this matchup as one where footwork, timing, and ring control may decide the outcome, showing that physical ability alone may not be enough against a disciplined and intelligent fighter.
Fight to a degree. You know, that's why everybody was criticizing him for, oh, he's a born fighter. He's a careful fighter. And I feel like with Teofimo Lopez, he's going to be a careful fighter. Now, just because he's a careful fighter doesn't mean that he isn't punctual with how he do things. I think Shakur, he got a lot of this arsenal that he can use to make him be victorious as well as Teofimo Lopez. You know what I mean? So it's a 50-50 fight, and it depends on what fighters show up the night of the fight. Right. You know? But if I had to give you my whole honest truth, if Teofimo Lopez show up and is ready to fight just like how he fought Lomachenko.
That wraps things up for today's video. Make sure to stay tuned for what's coming next.